So I'm seeing some interesting, what I call them visual harmonic patterns. There's some moire, M-O-I-R-E, moire, I guess it is, patterns because of the interface between my display's frequency and the frequency of the screen that I'm looking at this page at, which is kind of, I don't know if I can shrink it down. Maybe I'll just pull it back a bit. It's quite distracting actually to look at. So I'll just aim this and not look at my phone. It's hard to look at, so I'm sorry if it is for you too, though. The Tibesti Mountains Africa map. Well, I looked this up because I was looking for information about. I think I still have the tab open about the story that I've been saying, which I've now correct. Now I will now correct now that the Atlas, the realm of the giant Antaeus, who Hercules wrestled Heracles when wrestled about the time he separated the pillars of Hercules and held the sky on his shoulders for the giant Atlas, who was, I don't know, Antaeus' brother or something like that. All the giants are related, you know. This is the Ahagar. It's this big mountain area there, big Ahagar. And the Tibesti here, which is really one of the most beautiful mountain ranges in the world. But the Ahagar has a different climate like the Atlas and the Abyssinia does. It shows traits of being an alpine climate, whereas this Tibesti here, this is why I've been trying to figure out where there's talk of there's a heavy war zone where they can't get into. But my impression is it's in one of the great ergs. But there's a story about the Nile rising in the Atlas, which would have meant it flowed this way. Well, what they had to do a circuitous route, but there's also this highland here which is Darfur, kind of, in Sudan. And if there was another Nile from another set of mountains, it could have come from here, you see, because the story it came from the Atlas, so the confusion of the Atlas and the Hagar, because mountains in the west. And there is a story about Egypt having had a war with the Kemet. This is Kemet, had another war with another great country, and it wasn't this way, you know. And there's places here that could have been, but over here, this was all green and fertile 10,000 years ago, and there's savanna and mountains and forests all through here. I don't know about the ecology of the Tibesti and the Hagar. Nobody's ever been in there with that kind of research. And it was destroyed by fire and all the things that came when the climate changed. But now, my impression about the great city hidden in the sands that's been seen from orbit is not in this area, although there are things in Libya now that, yes, they're looking for. And in the Tibesti, right, this area here, this amazing set of mountains. It says it looks like Utah, only with more crocodiles. One thing I said one of to us. Beautiful, beautiful rock canyons, this one gorge, you know, but they're high mountains, and some very high mountains too. The Ahagar also, and the Atlas is very high. The Atlas don't have any trees anymore. And neither do the Ahagar or the Tibesti, although they lost theirs long ago, and the Sahara became sand after the Hiawatha impact of the Phaeton, I want to say comet, whatever it was that came from the sun or from the direction of the sun and was lashed by a bolt of lightning from the sun. This is what Plato says that the Egyptians told you. Passed between the earth and the moon, landed in the north. The north grew warm. Things went very dark, cold, storms, great fires destroyed the earth. People went underground in great numbers. Those that could find the way. Great numbers, whoa, we don't really know how many survived, but not very many. And you have to remember that when that happened, other than the great wave which washed over all the lands in all directions when the Arctic Ocean was impacted and half of it was vaporized, and most of it was vaporized, and half of the Arctic ice cap was of Greenland and Ellesmere gone, poof, into the atmosphere. Deep froze the mammoths after burying them in the mud from the splash over Siberia. Yeah, I don't know. We could talk about what might have been under Doggerland that was washed away. Who knows, right? Who knows? Because all our stories seem to arise from things that happened between then and 6000 BC, which is when Lake Agassiz was let go and the sea came up by another 200 meters on top of the 11,800 meters, 122 meters. And yeah, in total about 175 meters, or something like a total of 500 since 500. I'm not the total amount since 20,000 BC when the ice began to melt. Now, how did it all get up there so fast anyway to create ice caps that could advance at 60 miles an hour, a mile high? What kind of power could have created ice caps to do that 5 times? And then hold the ice locked, and that incredible, it must have been super cold up there because on the lowlands it was warm. And I'd say probably fairly dry. You know, I don't know, ancient paleoclimatology in the age of the Ice Age, considering the climates of the lowlands, really have to be considered on a realistic ecobiological basis of what would have existed on. I'm using Mu, which is a traditional name for Muror, you know, or the Polynesian, Melanesian landmass, and not connected to Indonesia, which was part of Asia. A series of mountain ranges and peaks and volcanoes. Yeah, there was all above land, as was the Gulf of Siam and the South China Sea. Yeah, and the North China Sea, Yellow Sea, right? And the Japan Sea. Yeah, I don't know how much is Bering. I'd look Hecate Strait and down through to Queen Charlotte Strait, but not Queen Charlotte Strait itself, which was curious. A little bit around Brooks Inlet and narrows down, but the coastal plain down to California is at least 100 kilometers wide. That was all land. That was all land. And that ended in, well, that was 200 meters, came up, like I said, 6000 BC, and so on. You know, 125, 122 in 11,800, and then 20,000 BC up to 600 in total. So anyways, I had a look here and I don't see the Western Sahara, so it must be a legend of another river, another source for the Nile, maybe in this range here, which somewhere's on one of these maps. This is a series of hiking trails. What have I got open here? It looks like it's open now. Thank you. These are hiking trails. No, these are routes into the Tibesti Massif, right? And the Hagar Plateau, whatever these are, I've forgotten, the Nile Basin. But these are not rivers, of course. These are just roads. Those mines, I don't know what those represent. It doesn't matter. But yeah, there's no route for a Nile from the Atlas. Like the legend said, well, I've been saying there was, well, unless it went something like this. But the Niger is like, comes out here, and it comes up through here, and it almost meets the Gambia here. It comes in from this side, but there was the Tamanrasset here. The Tamanrasset, it was big and wide. It had like a huge mouth. And they discovered it from another map I had open here, wherever it went. Yeah, there it is. Here it is. Watch this here. So, you know, I've been looking for the ancient Nile, but maybe I found something even greater that was maybe a legend of a river that was great. And it was maybe the home of this great power. And this might be, I still haven't found the location of that desert in the sands. Oh, come on. far.goo.web.net ... Come on. I have too many things open, see? I did shut down other programs. I guess I could shut down Winamp. That would help probably. Well, that helps there. Tamanrasset, look at that. See? Massive. Niger. This is hydrology. They're not just emphasizing it as hydrology of the thing, I think, anyway. Unless they're just emphasizing it, it's really not much bigger than the Niger, the Senegal, but I don't think so, because it had a source also in the Ahagar, it's also called. and the Atlas. And the Nile, I don't know, from here and come into the Nile here before the Great Bend of Khartoum. This is Khartoum here. Yeah, I read up on the Mahdi and all that. That's pretty interesting. Go away, Grenpool 18, number 12 to 14. That was what was up on my YouTube. Not YouTube. Yeah, I do use Winamp. People go, you still use Winamp? Well, why not? Why are you updated now? And now Abyssinia here, this is the traditional sources of the Nile. And yeah, this area, Lake Victoria and all that, the Great Lakes, the Rift Valley, the traditional source of the Nile is here, right? The legendary source says it was here. Now, how it got there, or whether they're confusing the Ahagar or the Tibesti, that these are all the Atlas, the same way that the Caucasus up here and the Great Caucasus are all the same range in the Greek mind. It could be the same kind of thing. But this is the realm of Atlas and the Berbers and the Tuareg, especially here. Also, this is all Tuareg territory. And I was looking at this. This is African News or WorldNet for WorldNews24.com. It's pretty good, for what I see on here. And I'm tempted to look up Canada, but I don't want to get distracted and I don't want to get angry at what's not covered. But this is covering things you don't normally hear about in our media at all. So, Chad, the language of this is really troubling for me because of what it's saying. The Chadian government. All right, so it's another post-French colonial military dictatorship with a serious problem with Boko Haram. They're very, very, very extreme. They're far, far, far more to the right Islamically than Al-Qaeda or even ISIS, Boko Haram. They're the ones that abducted the school children, the daughters, made them brides. They tried to. They kill the ones that wouldn't convert? Something like that. Yeah, it's an old way of doing things. Christians did it too. In the old days, I can't say about Africa today, but can't say I would not be surprised. The Chadian government said it would assert control over part of the country, far north, which has been troubled by a gold rush and a rebel incursion from neighboring Libya. Chad's armed forces have been ordered to expel all illegal gold diggers from the areas of Maki and Kouri-Bougri in the Tibesti region, Security Minister Ahmad Bashir said on state radio. Defense forces have been ordered to destroy all large machines and water containers and burn all the gold miners' stores and other equipment in land and air operations, the source said. Troops have been also told to arrest anyone wandering around in the area. Indeed, the discovery of gold in the region has triggered an influx of illegal miners from other parts of the country, often leading to violent incidents with local people. On Saturday, rebels opposed to President Idris Deby crossed into Tibesti from Libya, killing at least 3 Chadian soldiers, including a colonel, in an attack on Kouri-Bougri, a military source told Agence France-Presse. The operation, which the Chadian authorities said on Saturday had been repelled, was claimed by the Military Command Council for the Salvation of the Republic, which claimed to have several thousand fighters. About 100 vehicles, some equipped with 14.5mm and 12.5mm machine guns, were used in the attack. So I just saw something else on this, but listen to the language of that. Did you hear me making those tone of voice on some of those words? Illegal gold diggers. Well, under whose laws? Under whose boundaries? Well, this guy, whatever the name is, President Deby, Idris Deby, Deby probably. I'm thinking in French, Yep, that he's definitely He's definitely got the legal authority to have everything in terms of international law. The boundaries inherited from France, which are the agreement about African boundaries, and what Gaddafi was threatening also himself by wanting to unify Africa under the dinar, a new currency. And Africa is one of the richest continents. Yeah, it is. One of the most richest of all. And why isn't it? Imperialism. And what's a big part of that? The French Empire. And does it still stand? Well, its boundaries does. And the mechanisms of corruptions that come from colonial government does. So these boundaries are territorial regimes for colonial extraction economies, same as British Columbia's are. But yeah, this one involves the Tibesti, the gold-rich Tibesti, fabulously moves, 11,204 feet. Maybe that's the height, the tallest one. 11,000 feet, that's pretty tall. That's like Baker's a little shorter than that, 10,177. Although they change all the time, mountains, because of the ice and volcanoes especially change heights, even just a feet. This looks to be, this is the African page. I'm curious, I don't want to look at the Canada page. But but more, I said there, ordered to expel all illegal gold diggers from Miski and Kuri Bugri. In other words, these are areas where people have been coming to make money, and yeah, they've been probably just, especially the Tuareg, there are other people who live in this area. I think the Dogon live in this area, actually. Everybody knows who the Dogon are, right? The people who are into the serious thing already know about the Dogon. Killed at least 3 Chadian soldiers from which part of Chad, including a colonel, too bad, officer. I don't mean to be disrespectful to his family, any of them, but, this is war, I've said it had been repelled. Now, Chadian authorities said, okay, that's what they said. So, was claimed by the Military Command Council for the Salvation of the Republic, which sounds like, which claims to have several thousand fighters. So it's not exactly a regular army. It claims to have several thousand, volunteers, mercenaries, mercs, maybe, about 100 vehicles, some of them equipped with 14, probably actually, mercs, yeah. So who are they fighting? Well, they're fighting, they'll be called ISIS and Al-Qaeda, rebels, locals and shit. Remember that the locals that they're talking about, also in the other article, they're talking about fighting the locals, right? Close that one now. Ah, there we are again with that. Still don't have a name for those ones. That's Darfur, though, I know. Darfur, where the Christian element in the area spill over from Chad, probably, and so this is Sudan was part of Anglo-French Sudan. This was French Africa here, Egypt, Italian, never quite Italian, but British, and Algeria. All this had been Ottoman too at one point, right? And then Mauritania, kind of so much. Mauritania has always been. It was a great kingdom. Yeah, and the Tamanrasset would have come down here, and this great river here was where it went. It was in this. So this was here. There was a huge river there. So maybe just the legend of the river in the west somehow got blended with the story of the Nile, but there was a history there. But you can see some of the, like I say, Libya, this was much lower. There was a lot more land. This was high. Everything else was much, much lower because the oceans were not, the ocean was lower, like here off the Gambia, there's this bit of land off Sierra Leone, and whatever that is there. And I have to think about that. I'll think about something in Guinea. No, it was. But my hand is up here going above the map. The ice was high, and this was all land, the Aegean, and this was a mountainous land, and this was, if you looked at the map. So this looked interesting all by itself, but you have to think about the ancient landscape before sea level changes. 11,800, 6,000 BC, 6,800 BC, 6,000 BC, 20,000 BC. The opening of the Straits of Gibraltar, in which year flooded a lot. But a lot of the Mediterranean still got flooded long after that happened. It happened in those three times. A human habitation was down here, all over, and then, I don't know, Plato in the Timaeus, he talks about them finding refuge on high land between mountains. It sounds like here, and then this is the area where Haran and the Temple of Seven Planets, the moon goddess Sin, the 10,000 years, right next to Göbekli Tepe. That's that area right there. Edessa, Karhe, where Valentinian got taken captive. You see, right there, so that's that area. That's Urfa, Edessa, Antalya. No, Antalya's here. So what's this one called? The Turkish city right there. Yeah, and Sidon, Tyre, the Lebanese coast, Baalbek, all that stuff, right? And this was land here, right? But then they knew about countries across the sea, and they would know it from the star knowledge. These guys had started the knowledge, and Archimedes, and everybody from Heraclitus to Pythagoras, and I don't know who else studied there. Of the Greeks, they'd go there to study. When they go to Chaldea to study, they weren't going over here to Chaldea. That's Lower Chaldea. This is Chaldea. This is Chaldea. This is Upper Chaldea. Here is where they went to study. And this is where the great library of Hermes Trismegistus is. Still, I believe that it was hidden, but it was much more ancient than Alexandria. Alexandria had only a fraction of a copy of what must have been in this thing. That my things must still exist. I don't think the Mongols destroyed it. 1076, I think, was the year. I don't think that. And that's interesting because that's the same year as Manzikert. I'll have to double check that. Maybe it was 1276, but 1076 rings a bell. But look at Crete. Crete was connected to the Peloponnese, Gotta think about all this stuff, right? You think about this. Now, some of this has been filled in by the rivers. And that's a dam there that did that there. Is that Lake Volta? Might be, because this is Upper Volta here. Yeah, okay, so this is Upper Volta. Oh, sad that I saw this thing on kids being slaves. Lake Chad here is another great lake that's gotten smaller because of desertification. But yeah, the Sahara, these were mountains. These were forests, rather. Forests. Different climates, different weather, but this was a great high, wet place compared to the lowlands 500 meters below, and the climate was really different because all the cold was in the north, and there probably was a lot of climate polarity is what I'm saying. This wasn't that much cooler, except it was verdant and green and lush, and yeah, somewhere in the western desert here is that bit of Wales, but it might be here somewhere. Maybe it was even here. There's a whales would breed. And the young, sorry, I'm not holding that right. The whales would run. This is Katara depression, where the whales, the graveyard of whales dried up. I might be here, but no. But this looks like the Nile coming from here, from the mountains to the west, from the Hagar or the Atlas, or even could there have been? Could it have come this way? You see? The Nile? Could it have done that? The Nile coming from the west? It said the Nile came from the west, so where does this one come from? Then, of course it came from where it comes from, but what augmented was this greater river? Well, where's the greater river? You gotta look in close, right? Down the mouth of the Nile, look deep, like a real Lower Egypt, below Lower Egypt, north of it. Yeah, you got to think about what's beneath everywhere, beneath Mecca, beneath Ur, beneath Giraffe. Everything that's ancient, beneath Olympia. Yeah, the Tibesti. So this is 22,000, or 2,200 meters, 6,000. It's not that much, but that's on the border, I guess is why it's on there. Marks the border. These are all colonial boundaries. Yeah, Cyrenaica, Serene, we say English Cyrene. Yeah, nice area, ancient time, Libya. This was all green and verdant. There were lions here, Fezzan, that's where the Fezzan is. I've heard of it. So it's southwestern Libya. This is all Tuareg again. Algeria is Tuareg. This is their ancient homeland. Somewhere out here in Tuareg land, I think it's farther west. I'm still looking for that, the ancient city. I'll have to come back when I find it. I'll come back to that. PNGs take longer to load for some reason. Yeah, just a locational map of the Tibesti. So they're also in Niger. Lake Chad was bigger, like this big. Gotten bigger. Agriculture. Same thing as the RLC. Human destructiveness. Okay, there we go. What we got here? Oh, yeah. Well, the climate maps, that's what I was saying about the Ahagar Sea. Or is it Tibesti? No. No, it's this area here. It's Tibesti. No, this is like Montaigne. A little bit, whatever that's similar to the pinkish, the Afro-Montaigne. Lake Alberta, Victoria Mosaic. Mediterranean, Saharan, but the Saharan, but with the pink in it. Because of the Ahagar, I guess, has a different... No, that doesn't touch the Tibesti. I don't think it does. Kind of does. Yeah. So it's a Montaigne area. So that's the high veld, the Kalahari high veld, and the Karoo, and then the massive desert too, right? Kalahari. And western high veld is desert, of course. Afro-Montaigne. Yeah, interesting. Africa. Yeah, one of the richest continents, and what is it? Mostly poor. Why is that? Imperialism. So, Aïr, Hagar, Tibesti, Enedi. That's that other mountain range I was looking for. Tashili in Niger. Adrar, Iforas. The Erg, a great sea desert of sea of sand, of Birna, Ilan Marzuk, Ilan Obari, the Grand Erg Oriental being west within Tunisia, the Grand Erg Occidental, all these within Algeria, western and eastern, irrespectively. The Erg Igordi, and the Aglab Massif, the Erg Chich, El Jouf. These are great sand seas. Now, the eye of the Sahara is here somewhere. Somewhere there. So my think what the area you can't get into includes this. It's all of this area here. This is all like a dangerous zone, Tuareg war zone, right? The locals. Remember that article I was talking about? The locals. Yeah, well, the locals want their ancient homeland, right? And somewhere in here is that city in the sands I'm trying to locate. I'll have to go watch that video. Actually, I could do that right now that I think about it. I think I know where it is in my playlist. You see, I have my playlist now. So if you're following this along, you'd like to see, I learn all the time. I watch, I save things to watch again. Like right now, I've got to go back and locate this place. I can't find it in Google. I know I saw the footage, so I have to find it back on the video I saw and find their sources. And I got to go back and add to my own videos tonight. I still got to go back and finish adding links to things I've posted. You know, I've posted your video. Please have a look here. Hope you approve. And so on, you know. Because I have quoted other videos like I'm doing tonight, kind of. That one website I was looking at, 24 hours, is where a lot of those images from. No, somewhere else. The Register from UK. Yeah, I saw a real nice article of this gorge of the Tibesti. Wow. Come on, kids. I'm talking about my bits and my bytes. Come on, kids. Do it for Poppy. Load. Damn it. Nah, it doesn't work. sometimes magic works, sometimes it doesn't, you know. Tedious. Come on now. Is it that bad? There we go. Like Vlad's good. Vlad's good. Oh, did he? Hound Dog. I know what Hound Dog is saying. Yeah, True Liberty is an American channel. I'm gonna go not interested. I don't see. Yeah, she's really good. Royal Kurgan. So here it is. Yeah, the Royal Kurgan. Nah, the stuff they found at Crimea. Yeah. The Sahara was green. Oh, for 20,000 years. I have to watch that one. I can understand that now, you know. My French has gotten to the point where I'm not intimidated by French anymore. Watch it. Laughing at that. What was I looking for? Oh, I say this. Now I'll be at the bottom of the playlist, but about 6 up from the bottom. The thing I'm looking for. Probably set 10 by now, but add things. Wondering, I saw a thing in the video deleted or what, so I'm wondering if one of the ones I'm looking for was on there.
Every year, more and more incredible breakthroughs about the history of the human race are uncovered. These incredible findings are often overlooked by mainstream scientific articles, however, and it is not until decades later that the researchers responsible get the credit they deserve. In order to bring these incredible discoveries to light, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we will be going over 8 amazing recent archaeological discoveries.
This is a more recent one, I think.
New uncovered burials in Greece. Due to the nature of the find and the fear of looters and raiders, more information regarding a strange discovery of a recently uncovered burial in Greece is being stifled in the hopes of preventing raiders from finding the area. However, many reports coming from the team appear to detail a strange tomb filled with the remains of a warrior, as well as rooms filled to the brim with precious metals and colourful gemstones. Originally, the researchers believed they were excavating the site of a normal house from ancient Greece, but happened to uncover the tomb of a wealthy Bronze Age warrior. Within the tomb was found a preserved bronze sword with an ivory hilt covered in gold cups and jewellery, as well as hundreds and hundreds of beads made from precious gemstones such as amethyst and jasper. Around the body of the Mycenaean warrior was discovered 4 others who were believed to have possibly been family members. Further information regarding the find is still coming out. At the end of next year, the researchers report that the entire find and their discovery will be made public to the world.
Did I not hear that correctly? Mycenaean, maybe? It's down in the south.
13th Dead Sea Scrolls
what I was
Cave.
looking for. They found another Dead Sea Scroll.
The team discovered 4 foundation deposits in the region, and a further radar reading supports the theory of the presence of a tomb and surrounding tombs. Due to this recent find and the publicity received, another research group in the area has begun publishing their findings from KV-40, a tomb located within the Valley of the Kings where the archaeological dinosaur footprint. Discovered by 3D mapping over 130 timeline of human civilization as well in western Morocco that were bones that made up early atomically modern humans. Carbon dating on the fossils found that the bones were most likely Canaanite skeletons and DNA lineage uncovered. According to biblical reference, when the Hebrews first may completely shatter that belief and change the dynamics of the prehistoric timeline altogether. A team of scientists have announced that strange fossils were found in a cave located in Jebel had only been around for at most 100,000.
I'm looking for the one. I have a feeling it's not possible to find it. That it's been stopped. What I was looking for is gone. Iran. Shaft, Iran, Balochistan Sphinx. Ooh, might be that one, you see. Thracians. There's an Iran. Gurgate. Oh, since then. Velikovsky. Cosmology. These are my things. Yeah, I got to edit some of that stuff. Plasmic Cosmos after that. I'm just scanning my list here. Shouldn't be doing this wasting your attention. Oh no. I should have saved them. Oh, I've got to remember to do that. Oh, what were the links on those ones? Where did they go? God, that was stupid of me when I saw that. I just assumed that was widely known now. I saw that footage from orbit. That'll be around the science fiction people somewhere. That community. I'm sorry I had this down.
After all, storytellers in those times borrowed from other stories.
God. Whoa.
Syncretic, the way
Yes. Babble. Yeah, Joseph Campbell Archive. Some of these guys are all right. When it's a legitimate guy, legitimate talking head, I'm fine. Yeah. What have we got on here? I just hope that it's on here, maybe back here.
This is not only possible, it is likely. Zeus is the name we are familiar with from the Greek tradition that comes and punishes the people of Atlantis who have achieved so much because they started taking it for granted.
No, I'd see the footage I was looking for there, but I don't see it along the map.
What could the people of Atlantis have taken for granted? How could they have become immorally bankrupt? Could this be another interpretation of a god figure?
Yeah, Tenerife. No, it's Seville, Atlantis.
What I can tell you is that there is a recollection
Doñana National Park or something.
Tradition of a time before when
No, it doesn't look like that. Oh dear. Anyway, that's really too bad. That's really too bad. It's gone. I should have saved it. When I saw it. I had never thought it would be gone. That just goes to show you. You can never trust the fucking internet. What is it? One day may not be there when you look again, including yourself. So, that's it, okay? Another one of these commentary on commentaries, browsing a site. Kind of just wanted to talk about my, I better check that thing about what would the route been of the Nile. And no, it couldn't have flown from the Atlas unless somehow it flowed through a lowland north of the Ahagar and the Tibesti, which was there Very much so, because that whole Libyan coastline was a big country. Yeah, there would have been plenty of room for a second river there, too, all the way to the Qatar Depression. Now, where's Siwa? Siwa's in that area, too. That's the great oracle that Alexander went to. I should go look at those maps right now, you know? I have them saved. So my mind goes in stream. So I call it in stream of consciousness. It just goes in stream. Yeah, I gotta get doing to make that map. I want to add in the proper political geography of British Columbia. It never doesn't show it. Never. You don't see the First Nations on that map, do you? Know on that one. My bird and propane. I hope it comes tomorrow. No, taking a while to load. Too much work. There we go. Yeah, that would interest me. Definitely. What I see there on the map, there's a lot of interesting stuff in the Sahara now that I'm thinking about what's out there, because you have to think about, we've always heard about the land of Punt, you know, and other things that in Egyptian history we've always assumed that we were talking about, you know, Aksum, you know, Ethiopia, essentially, and Yemen. You know, no, maybe they weren't. So, anyways, that's what I'm talking about. All those big sand ergs. None of these ones. One of these ones holds that big city in the sand. I think it's this where over there south of the Atlas and the Tamanrasset would account for it, the giant river flowing that way. So it didn't need the Nile, but the Nile could have gone this way. Along, see that coastline? It could have come this way, eastward, but no, there's all the ecology of the Nile, the geology of the Nile is, well, it's not fully established how it cut some of its canyon, I guess, but it is what's called an exotic river. It flows through a desert. Well, so is the Tamanrasset, whatever the proper pronunciation of it is. All very interesting. Yeah, all of this was green and vast and fertile and beautiful, and animals and elephants and lions and tigers and bears too, probably. You know, this was the world before all the animals also moved north along with humans went north into Europe, after Europe became more ice-free, and from out underneath the ice, and I think people even during the Ice Age were under the ice, but they learned to live underground. When the ice came, at first they had to. Somehow they had to, you know. And I think we survived everywhere more than we know, but only so many survived when the devastations came of the waters rising, or the great devastations of the fires of darkness that came from the 11,800 impact, whatever it was. Anyways, that's it. I'm Professor, signing off for now. Good night.